Morning, welcome back to the blog, episode 14. There isn't going to be a 13. It's now the Sunday before the Wednesday when 12 came out, if that makes sense. As you can see, engine's back in again, hopefully for the last time. Different rocker cover on there, you can see. I'll turn it around so you can see it. Okay, so engine's in with different rocker cover this time because the MED one was catching really badly on the insides for some reason. It must be just a slightly different orientation of the rockers. What else is fresh? Right, one of the differences in this cylinder head is that the throttle body is sitting flatter and it's not inclined up at an angle like it was in the old head, which means I'm really tight for space under here, and when you put the back plate on it's coming out at an angle and the bottom ear on the back plate is smacking into the alternator really badly, but I can't really work out how I can get around that. Perhaps if I change to a different alternator, a smaller one, that might solve it, but for the moment it's going to be just, it'll do. I've also changed, if you can see it under there, back of there, no you can't really see it, I'll maybe see it from there. I've changed the oil temperature sensor. It's now an SPA analog style as opposed to the old Smith's mechanical type, because I snapped it off and it was going to be a case of if I'd had it repaired I couldn't get it back through the bulkhead because the hole in the bulkhead was quite small, and then it's been filled with wires afterwards around the sensor cable, and if I'd had it repaired I couldn't have got the repaired bulb back through the bulkhead, so I was screwed. So I've had to put an SPA digital one in, well SPA analog, but it's, you know, electronic. So that's the new oil temperature gauge there, and then a control button for it. Does anybody remember this list? It's now Christmas Day plus 20, but finally I'm able to do this. Tappets are now done. What I will have to do now again is I'll have to test the fuel pressure and make sure there's no leaks, it's all been disconnected. I've also got to check the oil level because it's not showing hardly at all on that specialist components dipstick. I'll also have to top up the oil and try and get some oil pressure down here. Coil operation, can't do that because I still haven't got the plug leads, so that'll be today's jobs. Check for leaks, get some plug leads made, and I could in theory attempt to start, but I've also got to, before I even attempt to start it, I've got to tidy up the garage, move some cars around so I can have the exhaust of this one pointing out of the door for when it does start. Okay, then that fired up, well it didn't fire up, but it primed the fuel pump and the fuel rail and stuff, and there was no leaks. I'm just checking around here because this is the end that had disconnections, the rest of it wasn't touched. Oh, something else I should point out for anybody with the mini spares 8-port is if you're using one of these ultimate engine steadies that goes on the water pump from Moss, there's a little, on this casting, there's a little bit that sticks down, you can just see it there. That needs the corner of it taken off to clear the bracket, otherwise your head doesn't sit down properly. It'll feel tight, but it'll be resting on the bracket at that end, and obviously your head gasket's not going to seal. Okay, good news, we've got oil pressure at last. I had to take off the oil pressure release valve cap on the front of the engine, primed it with oil, put the cap back on, turned it over, and almost within seconds I had oil pressure, a good 69 psi at idle, or cranking, and the little orange warning light went out, so everything's all working as it should be. We've turned the car around, did a little bit of footage of that. All that's left is to make up some fresh plugs. 2 of them should be okay, they just need different ends on, and then 2 fresh ones, and then be able to go for first start. Right, that's it for today. Unfortunately work calls and I have to travel to Birmingham, so I'm not going to get any work done for another 2-3 days now. I won't be back until Wednesday, which will be obviously when video 12 comes out.